All right, welcome to another deep dive. We're going to really get into some fascinating stuff that you sent over to us.
Yeah, a real treasure trove of materials you've provided, all about how to teach and learn languages effectively.
It's quite a bit, and we always try to cut through the clutter and give you the core ideas.
Absolutely. No information overload here. We're going to extract those key insights, those essential nuggets to help you really grasp what makes language teaching tick.
Exactly. And for anyone out there who's keen on teaching or just fascinated by how we learn languages, this is your fast track to understanding those fundamental principles.
And the beauty of it is you can apply these insights whether you're a seasoned teacher or just starting out on your language learning journey.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The first thing that really jumps out from all these materials is the centrality of the learner.
Yeah, it sounds obvious, right?
It does.
But it's so crucial.
It really is the foundation.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk all day about methods and techniques, but ultimately it boils down to the students, the individuals sitting in front of you.
And that's the core message, right?
Yeah.
Seeing each learner as a unique individual with their own motivations, their own ways of learning.
Right. And it's about constantly trying to understand their perspective. It's not just about teaching. It's about listening, observing, and engaging with their work to figure out how they tick.
And that process starts even before you meet them.
Oh, absolutely. Even before that first class.
It's fascinating. Some of the materials suggest exchanging letters even before you actually meet face to face.
You mean like directly with the students?
Yeah, if their level allows.
Yeah.
Or, you could go through their current teacher, maybe even communicate in their native language if possible.
That's interesting. Build a connection before you even step into the classroom.
Exactly. And at this stage, it's not just about their English level. It's about understanding their background, the type of institution they're coming from.
Like, are they coming from a university setting? Or are they employees needing English for a specific job?
Exactly, exactly. And what are their goals? What demands are they facing? Are there specific tests they need to prepare for? All of this shapes your approach right from the start.
It's like gathering intelligence,
Haha, in a way.
building a picture of who you'll be working with.
And then you have that all-important first meeting.
That first impression.
Some might be tempted to jump right into grammar rules, right?
Yeah, straight into the textbook.
But these materials, they actually suggest something else.
Well,
Focusing on names first.
names.
Yeah. Learning those names, those personal details.
Building rapport.
Exactly. Making those human connections from the get-go.
Showing you see them as individuals, not just students.
There's even this neat idea about using register mnemonics to remember names. Like, if you have a student named Rose, you might picture her with a rose.
Okay, I can see how that would work, although might need to be careful with those.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Use your judgment.
Uh-huh. Or Regina might not appreciate being associated with a queen in front of everyone.
Discretion is key. But the point is, it's about building that positive learning environment right from the start.
And it's vital to understand why they're even there in the first place,
Right.
right? What are their motivations?
Absolutely. Why are we here is a powerful question.
Just a quick 30-second round can reveal so much.
And for lower levels, maybe provide a visual menu of reasons like, Joby, internet, exam.
They can point to what resonates most with them. Simple, but effective.
Because understanding those motivations, those whys, that's your compass. That's what guides your teaching decisions.
Makes sense. If you know why they're learning, you can tailor your content and activities to their actual needs.
Exactly.
Now, the materials also talk about the importance of getting ongoing feedback from students, not just at the end of the course, but throughout.
Right. And there are so many creative ways to do that.
Like having them complete sentences like, I give A grades to students who, or the best grammar book is one that.
Oh, I like that. Uncovering their preferences and understanding how they view effective learning.
And visual tools can be really powerful too,
Oh, absolutely. Things like career graphs.
where they map out their aspirations and the language skills they'll need to get there.
Right. It makes that learning journey more tangible, more real.
It connects their language learning to their actual goals.
And these seemingly simple activities can reveal a lot about their prior learning experiences, their beliefs about how language is learned, and their assumptions about what makes a good teacher.
That's valuable information for you as a teacher.
It helps you tailor your approach.
And there's what's it called, a bartering activity mentioned,
Oh, yeah, the bartering activity. That one's interesting.
where they write down their expectations for the course on separate slips of paper and then try to connect them. find common ground.
Yeah, it's a dynamic way to see what they're hoping to get out of the course, both individually and as a group.
And I like how the materials emphasize that assessing their level doesn't have to be all about formal tests.
Yeah, especially at the beginning. It can be as simple as starting with basic commands, seeing if they can follow instructions.
Or giving them short texts at different levels.
Right, focusing on those core skills, speaking and listening, to get a practical sense of what they can actually do with the language.
Makes sense. A gentle way to gauge their abilities without that pressure of a formal test.
And it avoids that potential dip in confidence on day one if they're hit with something too difficult.
The class dictionary activity also stood out to me,
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
giving them topic categories and seeing what vocabulary they can come up with.
Yeah, it's a good gauge of their active vocabulary.
And the examples they give for different levels, elementary, intermediate, advanced, show how adaptable it is.
You can really tailor it to the group you're working with.
And of course, using questionnaires to find out about their access to resources and their preferred study methods.
Things like, do they have reliable internet access?
Right, because that will influence what kind of homework you assign or what self-study resources you recommend.
And do they prefer studying alone or in groups?
Yeah, getting a sense of their learning style.
All of this feeds into creating a more effective learning environment.
I have to admit, though, the teacher's adjectives activity sounds a little nerve-wracking.
Oh, you mean the one where students anonymously circle words they think describe you as a teacher?
Yeah, that one.
I know, it could be a bit scary.
But the feedback could be so valuable.
Absolutely.
A real opportunity for professional development.
And more importantly, it's about probing their thinking, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Asking those open-ended questions like, one thing I already know about English is, or at the end of class, what did we do today, and why do you think we did that?
It helps you uncover any mismatches between your teaching and how they're actually perceiving the learning process.
Because they're not blank slates, are they?
Definitely not. They come with their own ideas, assumptions, and preconceived notions about how languages are learned. And I really liked the idea of learning contracts. Maybe not for every context, but the principle is interesting.
Oh, you mean those written agreements between the teacher and the student about their learning goals and how progress will be assessed?
Yeah. While that might be more common in adult education, the idea of shared responsibility and personalized learning, that's relevant for any age group.
Absolutely. It fosters that sense of ownership over their learning.
And something I hadn't really considered before, tracer studies.
You mean following up with students after the course is finished?
Yeah.
That's longer-term perspective, isn't it?
It is.
But it can provide such valuable feedback.
To help you reflect on your teaching and make adjustments for the future.
So all of these methods, all these different ways of getting to know your students, they paint a detailed picture, don't they?
Yeah, it's not just about their language skills. It's about understanding them as individuals.
And as we said, that's really the foundation for everything else.
Okay, so we've got a better sense of who we're teaching.
Right.
Now let's talk about structuring those learning experiences, those lessons themselves.
How we organize our time in the classroom.
And the materials really emphasize the importance of how you start a lesson.
That first impression.
They talk about boundary-oriented starts and
Organic starts.
right, so boundary-oriented starts are all about being punctual, having a clear and immediate focus on the lesson objective.
No messing around. Straight to the point.
Whereas organic starts are a bit more relaxed,
Yeah, maybe a bit of informal chat to warm up the atmosphere.
or drawing their attention to something related to the topic, but not necessarily the core instruction just yet.
Like, if the lesson is about the past simple, a boundary-oriented start might be the teacher writing that on the board and saying, okay, today we're learning past simple.
Clear and direct.
But an organic start might involve asking them about their weekend or something in the news, and then gradually transitioning into the topic.
So it's a conscious decision then as a teacher.
Yeah, you're deliberately creating either a focused working atmosphere or a more relaxed, friendly atmosphere.
Depending on what you want to achieve in that particular lesson.
And you can also decide how much you, as the teacher, lead that initial part of the lesson.
Or whether you involve the students more directly.
Like maybe give them a choice of a couple of warm-up activities.
Right, so they feel some ownership right from the start.
It's about setting the tone for the whole lesson.
And then we move into the, what do they call it? The middles?
The middles of the lesson.
Right, those longer stretches of time after the warm-up and any breaks.
Where the real meat of the lesson is, so to speak.
And here the materials talk about threads and,
Stimulus-based blocks.
yeah, threads. These are recurring activities that you weave throughout your lessons.
Like maybe you have an animal of the day, and
Yeah.
you explore that word both the literal meaning and any metaphorical uses.
Building vocabulary in a fun and memorable way.
And because it's a recurring activity, it becomes familiar.
Less explaining needed each time.
It builds continuity.
Then we have stimulus-based blocks.
These are built around a single starting point, like let's say an apple.
An apple.
Yeah, why not? And you explore it through a series of moves.
Move?
Yeah, like first you meet it, you simply observe it.
Okay.
Then you analyze it, describe its features.
Right.
You personalize it, talk about your own experiences with apples.
I see where you're going with this.
You alter it, imagine it as something else.
Okay.
And finally, you create something new based on it, maybe a poem or a recipe.
So it's a really thorough exploration of a single idea.
Exactly.
And the beauty of it is you can apply these moves to all sorts of different starting points, a picture, a text, a piece of music.
It's a very versatile framework.
And then there are generalizable procedures for working with texts.
Oh, yeah. These are really useful.
Things like expansion, taking a short text and elaborating on it.
Or reduction, summarizing a longer text.
Media transfer, turning a text into a diagram or a short play.
Analysis, identifying key features, and then project work, using the text as a springboard for something bigger.
It's about engaging with a text in active and creative ways.
Going beyond just answering comprehension questions.
And I really like the emphasis on rounding off activities.
Those transitional moments.
Yeah, as you move from one part of the lesson to the next or towards the end of class.
They provide a change of pace, a moment to catch your breath.
They can be as simple as playing with the letters of a long word that came up in the lesson.
Or doing some quick stretches to re-energize.
Right. It's about managing energy levels and making those transitions smooth.
Break times themselves serve a similar purpose.
Yeah, a natural shift in pace and energy.
And then we come to the end of the lesson.
That final wrap-up.
Collecting homework, recapping the main points.
And this can be teacher-led, or you can have the students do the summarizing.
It's about reinforcing learning and providing a sense of closure.
You can also use sentence completion activities to reinforce key concepts.
Or even involve students in some brief planning for the next lesson.
Right. Get their input. Make them feel like active participants.
So we've looked at how to structure a lesson. Now let's delve into the content, the actual what we're teaching.
The meat and potatoes.
And the sources break this down into various language elements, starting with words.
The building blocks.
But it's not just about teaching isolated words, is it?
No, it's about understanding words in context.
And recognizing that many words have multiple meanings.
And teaching them how to use dictionaries effectively.
Both learner dictionaries and those more comprehensive ones, including corpus-based dictionaries.
Which show how words are actually used in real-world language.
And I love the emphasis on word groups or lexical phrases.
Chunks of language that occur together.
Like, by the way, or have a good time.
Teaching these can really boost their fluency.
Then we have grammatical patterns.
The rules of the game.
Yeah, but the analogy they use in the materials is quite nice.
Yeah,
They compare grammar to the rules that govern the growth of nature and flowers.
that's a nice way to put it.
It makes it seem less abstract, more organic.
And then we have functions. The ways we use language for specific purposes.
Like inviting someone to do something.
Right, and understanding the different exponents of a function.
The various phrases you can use to make that invitation.
Like, would you like to? How about, why don't we?
And knowing how the context influences which exponent is appropriate.
The time, the place, your relationship with a person.
It's about going beyond just grammatical correctness and thinking about the actual communicative purpose of language.
What you're actually doing with the language.
And of course, we can't forget discourse.
Language beyond the sentence level.
Cohesion, how ideas connect smoothly within a text.
Register. The level of formality.
Right. And it's interesting how the traditional distinction between formal and informal language is becoming more blurred in many contexts.
Like with email and social media.
Exactly. It's more of a sliding scale now.
And then we have the 4 skills. Reading, writing, speaking, and listening.
With all their sub-skills.
But it's not just about teaching these elements in isolation, is it?
No, it's about how they all come together.
Thinking about teaching through situations, topics, themes.
Making sure your themes are broad enough to encompass a range of learning aims.
And literature can be a great source of content, too.
Not just for language learning, but for exploring the author's intentions, provoking personal responses, and even memorizing beautiful passages.
And culture, of course, plays a huge role.
The culture of the classroom itself.
The culture of the institution where you're teaching.
Comparing different cultures and being aware of the cultural messages embedded in our teaching materials.
The mirror principle.
Recognizing both similarities and differences.
And then finally, study skills.
Teaching them how to learn effectively, how to assess their own progress.
Empowering them to become more autonomous learners.
So we've talked about what to teach.
Right.
Now let's explore the how, the methodology.
The different approaches to teaching.
And the sources outline 4 main ways of working.
Okay.
First, finding out for yourself.
Discovery learning, guided discovery.
Setting up tasks that encourage them to explore language patterns and figure things out for themselves.
And you, as the teacher, take on more of a facilitator role.
Guiding their exploration with questions rather than giving them the answers directly.
Then there's making things plain.
This is more direct instruction, explaining things clearly, demonstrating.
Giving them the rules and the information up front.
Which can be very efficient, especially for introducing new concepts.
But it's important to follow it up with opportunities for them to actually use the language.
Right, to practice and apply what they've learned.
The third way is periphery learning.
Learning that happens more unconsciously through immersion and exposure.
So just being surrounded by the language.
And creating that rich language environment in the classroom can really facilitate this.
Especially for things like pronunciation and intonation.
Developing a feel for the language.
And finally, use and refinement.
Where they actively use the language in different contexts.
And receive feedback to help them improve their accuracy and fluency.
This is where it all comes together, isn't it?
Yeah, moving beyond just understanding the language to actually being able to use it confidently in real-world situations.
And the sources analyze some common instructional sequences through this framework.
Like test, teach, test.
Where you first get them to use the language, often revealing what they don't know.
Then you teach the relevant points.
And then you test again to see if they've grasped it.
Then there's PPP, presentation, practice, production.
Which maps onto making things plain first, followed by use and refinement.
Through controlled practice and then more open-ended activities.
And then there's task-based learning.
TBL.
Focusing on completing a task that requires them to use the language.
And this can draw on all 4 ways of working.
Absolutely. Because they might need to understand new information, experiment with different ways of expressing themselves, and refine their output to achieve the task.
And the key takeaway here is that effective teaching is about being flexible.
Using a combination of these approaches.
It's not about rigidly sticking to just one method.
It's about choosing the right tools for the job.
Considering your students, your objectives, and the specific learning context.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about tools.
The tools of the trade.
The resources we use in the classroom.
And we have a whole range from physical tools to digital resources.
Let's start with the Humble Dictionary.
It's amazing how many different types there are.
You have pocket dictionaries, those big desk dictionaries.
Syllabus-based dictionaries.
Even production dictionaries like the Longman Language Activator.
Which helps them to express themselves more effectively.
Knowing the strengths and limitations of each type is so important for guiding your students.
It's not just about looking up the meaning of a word, it's about exploring nuances.
Collocations, words that frequently go together.
And correct usage.
And then there's the board, the trusty blackboard or whiteboard.
It's more than just a writing surface.
We have chalkboards, whiteboards, flip charts.
Even magnetic boards.
And they could be used for so many things, presenting vocabulary, grammar rules.
Giving instructions.
Brainstorming.
Mapping out the lesson visually.
And don't forget the box of rods.
Those colored wooden sticks.
They might seem simple, but they can be great for making phonological features more concrete.
Or even for storytelling activities.
And a well-chosen picture pack is a fantastic resource.
Especially if it represents a diverse range of people and situations.
You can have them make sentences based on what they see in the pictures.
Or even create tableaus.
Bringing the pictures to life.
And music can set a particular atmosphere.
Or be used for mental imagery activities.
These less conventional tools can really engage different learning styles.
And then, of course, we have the course book.
That often central resource.
The materials talk about both its advantages and disadvantages.
On the one hand, it provides structure, a ready-made syllabus.
But on the other hand, it might not be perfectly tailored to your students' needs.
And that's why it's so crucial to evaluate it critically.
They have this great set of questions, the Me Teacher U-Book questions.
Appearance, target audience, pace, organization, methodology.
Exercises, culture, literature, study skills.
Really thinking about whether it aligns with your teaching philosophy.
And it's not just about that initial evaluation. It's about how you interact with the course book throughout the course.
Forging connections, asking students how they relate to the material.
Quantification exercises, getting them to interpret vague language or make estimations.
Then even teacher dissection.
Going through the book, adding your own notes, adapting activities, preparing supplementary materials.
You're not a slave to the course book.
You're the one in charge.
Absolutely. And those pictures in the course book, they have so much potential.
More than meets the eye.
Encourage them to name everything they see, even the abstract things.
Like the relationship between two characters.
Right, or have them create tableaus based on the picture.
It brings the images to life.
Speaking of keeping things lively, the materials really stress the need for a varied repertoire of activities.
Having a toolkit to draw from.
And being able to adapt those activities to suit your needs.
They use the Alphabet Blackboard game as an example.
Such a simple game, but you can tweak it in so many ways.
Changing the content, the steps, the goals.
You can make it a warm-up activity, a vocabulary review, even a low-stakes test.
It's about understanding the core components and then playing with them.
And they go on to give a whole range of more traditional activities like, eliciting pre-vocabulary before reading.
Different types of dictation.
Reading aloud.
Role play.
And they offer creative variations for each one.
So you can keep things fresh and engaging.
All right, let's move on to planning.
The nitty-gritty.
And they define planning quite broadly here.
It's not just about writing lesson notes, is it?
No, it's about those informal chats with colleagues, those moments of reflection.
Even just thinking things through in your head.
And you can plan anytime, anywhere.
While doing the dishes, while driving.
It becomes more intuitive over time.
As you build up that bank of teaching knowledge.
And one of the things they suggest is to think about your own experiences as a learner.
We've all been students.
What worked for you?
What didn't work?
Those teacher ghosts.
Hmm?
Those phrases or routines from teachers you had that stuck with you.
Reflecting on those experiences can be really insightful.
And there's no one right way to plan.
Some people like to start with very specific objectives.
Others might start with a material they want to use or an activity that seems engaging.
Or just a desire to motivate their students.
A plan looking for a goal.
They give examples of different types of lesson notes.
Some organized by time, others by materials.
Even more flexible frameworks.
And they talk about playing similar sorts of cards.
Deliberately repeating certain elements in your lessons.
Like using the same kind of group work activity or focusing on a particular skill for a series of lessons.
Building familiarity and routine.
They contrast this with building a pack of cards, which is more about a carefully sequenced progression of content.
Each lesson building directly on the last.
And then there are those moments just before a lesson.
That pre-lesson prep.
The zero option, walking in with just a few key ideas.
Or writing detailed lesson notes.
Linear or nonlinear.
And visualization, mentally rehearsing the lesson.
It's about making decisions, setting those minimum achievable goals.
And thinking about what you'll do if things don't go according to plan.
And afterwards, taking time for reflection.
Thinking about how you might store your materials for future use.
The design model, considering what happens before, during, and after the lesson.
It's an ongoing cycle.
And finally, let's talk about freedoms and constraints.
The things that are outside our control.
The type of organization you're working for.
The characteristics of your class.
Heterogeneous, large, small.
Exam-focused.
Substitute teaching.
And then there's the internal variable, ourselves, our own teaching style.
Recognizing these factors is crucial for being realistic and effective.
For example, heterogeneous classes, students at different levels.
They suggest things like a differentiated syllabus, graded materials.
They give an example of a mixed ability dictation.
Students can choose which level of text they want to attempt.
And it's still important to have that whole group time.
For building a sense of community.
And peer teaching can be really effective in these contexts.
For large classes, crowd control is key.
Learn those names quickly, use eye contact, have clear signals.
And think about allotting roles or tasks to students.
To give them a sense of responsibility.
And careful planning is essential for any kind of group work.
One-to-one teaching or small groups requires a more personalized approach.
Think about how to equalize the encounter.
Make sure the student feels like an active participant.
Exam classes need transparency.
Make sure they understand the syllabus, the format, the vocabulary they'll need.
Provide exam tips.
But don't neglect those general language skills.
And for substitute teaching, be adaptable.
Have some go-to materials you can pull out.
A picture story, for example.
That can be adapted to different levels.
And let's not forget that every class is different.
You might have a class where the students don't get along.
In those cases, maybe avoid activities that require close interaction.
Focus on individual work.
Use dialogue journals.
And always reinforce positive interactions.
Undisciplined classes can be challenging.
Prevention is key.
Set those expectations and routines from the start.
And if you need to respond to disruptive behavior, be quick and consistent.
And finally, we come back to ourselves.
Our own strengths and weaknesses as teachers.
They mention the headache and aspirant activity.
Where you discuss a teaching challenge with a colleague and brainstorm solutions.
A great way to work on those areas you find difficult.
And to maximize your existing strengths.
And the whole discussion ends with this beautiful gardening metaphor.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Effective teaching is like gardening.
Adapting to your specific conditions.
Working with what you have.
Nurturing that learning environment.
Creating a good garden, regardless of the soil or the climate.
So, to wrap up this deep dive,
we've covered a lot of ground.
Effective language teaching is dynamic. It's ongoing.
It's about understanding your learners.
Structuring lessons thoughtfully.
Using a variety of content and methods.
Skillfully utilizing the tools at our disposal.
Planning flexibly and being aware of the constraints.
And maybe the most important takeaway is this idea of seeing your classroom as a design problem.
A space where you can apply all these principles creatively to craft meaningful learning experiences.
And on that note, here's a final thought for our listener. Think back to your own experiences as a learner.
In any subject, not just language learning.
What teaching approaches really resonated with you? What made the learning stick?
What made it feel meaningful?
Exploring those past experiences, reflecting on what worked and why, that can offer some really valuable insights.
Whether you're a teacher or a learner yourself.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful.
We'll see you next time for another exploration into the world of knowledge.
Until then, happy teaching and learning, everyone.
Bye for now.